Hello and thank you for joining us on the news on NTA International with me, Naja Atutijani. But first, the headlines.
To Dutch people, everything in this country is huge, is big. It's absolutely clear that we have a lot to offer each other.
President Muhammadu Buhari engages Dutch Prime Minister as the two leaders agree to deepen bilateral relations. President Muhammadu Buhari seeks National Assembly approval for NDDC 2019-2020 appropriation bill. People of Badagry, southwest Nigeria commend federal government's land border closure policy. And now the news in detail. Nigeria and the Kingdom of Netherlands have pledged to deepen and expand the highly beneficial relations between the two countries in critical economic sectors, especially trade, investment and security. This is contained in a communique issued after the high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the visiting Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has details.
For the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte by President Muhammadu Buhari on his first official visit to Nigeria. After the exchange of pleasantries with their respective countries' delegations, comprising ministers and chief executive officers of some major companies, the two leaders retreated for talks on areas of common interest. Apart from reviewing the progress made regarding the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding on Deepening Bilateral Relations signed in 2018 in The Hague, the two leaders described as welcoming the high levels of bilateral trade volumes as well as private sector investments. A communique signed by the Nigerian ambassador to the Kingdom of the Netherlands and the deputy head of mission of the Netherlands Embassy in Abuja noted the contribution of Dutch private businesses to the Nigerian economy, while Nigeria confirms its commitment towards continuing reforms for a conducive business and investment environment. The Netherlands pledges to continue assisting Nigeria for an increase in agricultural productivity, especially horticulture, seed, and sustainable palm oil production.
To Dutch people, everything in this country is huge, is big. It's absolutely clear that we have a lot to offer each other. There are already strong economic ties between our countries. And I'm proud to say that the Netherlands is Nigeria's third biggest trading partner, as an exporter and as an importer of Nigerian products. And there's still a lot of room to expand our trade. The future of Dutch-Nigerian relations is full of opportunities. President Buhari and I will work hard to make sure that together we seize those opportunities. And I'm looking forward to that future together between the Netherlands and Nigeria. But can I also say that I look forward to working together with President Buhari, because we have really struck a relationship which I value highly.
President Buhari and the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte also discussed the challenging security situation in Nigeria, the fight against human trafficking and humanitarian issues, with Prime Minister Mark Rutte acknowledging the sustained efforts of Nigeria in the fight against insurgency as well as encountering violent extremism. He promised necessary support by the Kingdom of the Netherlands towards mitigating the impact of insecurity and displacement.
For example, we discussed in 2018 at length, just to mention one issue, the Lake Chad question, and how can we work together. And we hosted a meeting in the Netherlands earlier this year on Lake Chad, and what can we do, let's say, in the immediate future. So separating it from the more structural solution. What can we do in the immediate future to use some of the Dutch expertise in terms of water? You know you have to call us when you have too much or not enough. If it is not clean or too clean, we can help you. And as the President was telling me, I think 30 million people, you mentioned, are depending on the lake itself and the economy coming out of it. So this is an important, just to mention one example of where we try to be helpful.
The next round of consultations between Nigeria and the Kingdom of the Netherlands will hold in The Hague in 2020. From the State House, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
And still on diplomatic ties, President Muhammadu Buhari says with the undisputed and favorable economic indices, Nigeria offers one of the highest returns on investment in the world. Speaking at a business lunch with the visiting Dutch Prime Minister, the president insisted that indeed Nigeria poses a very attractive investment destination. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Records show that Nigeria and the Kingdom of the Netherlands enjoy excellent trade relations that preceded formal diplomatic ties. Although the two countries are not at the same level of economic development, President Muhammadu Buhari said economic opportunities abound for collaboration and mutual benefits.
Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. We are moving up in World Bank Ease of Doing Business rating. We are tackling corruption and we are developing our infrastructure, power and transport, and modernizing our ports.
He said with abundant natural resources, fertile land, affordable labor, and a huge market, there is no better place for investment than Nigeria, which he also said is making frantic efforts towards eliminating bottlenecks in the grid capacity of power supply for sustainable economic growth.
Now is the opportune moment for Nigeria and the Netherlands to engage more concretely and collaborate more closely for our mutual economic benefit and sustainable development of our two countries. As we develop our infrastructure, our macroeconomic policies are being strengthened in order to guarantee economic stability.
We are already good at working together. But what really unites the Nigerians and the Dutch is the ambition to always go that extra mile. And there are plenty of opportunities, whether it is in agri-food, energy, health, maritime technology, or another economic sectors.
Prime Minister Mark Rutte, who is on a two-day visit to Nigeria, is accompanied by chief executive officers of Dutch multinationals currently operating in Nigeria with huge investment portfolios in, amongst others, agriculture, finance, as well as oil and gas sectors. One of the companies, Royal Friesland Campina, represented by its managing director, Ben Langard, signed a memorandum of understanding on dairy chain development with the Niger State government led by Governor Abubakar Sani Bello.
We have a dairy development program where we help farmers to improve the quality and the quantity of the milk production. And we do that in Oyo State already, and we're going to extend that now to Niger State.
We are very excited about the whole thing because it will improve our revenues, it will create jobs, and most importantly, there will be value addition in the livestock industry.
So we at the ministry, we're going to look at this MOU and see how we can actually implement, and not just implement, but really practicalize the tenets contained in the MOU.
The deal is expected to save for Nigeria about $1.2 billion from milk importation annually. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And now to the National Assembly. President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted a letter to the Senate seeking approval for the NDDC 2019-2020 budget estimates. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports.
While I trust that the Senate will consider this request.
It was another first for the Red Chamber to receive budget estimates for the NDDC ahead of the proposed fiscal year.
This is a very good sign that we are operating at the same frequency with the executive arm of government, that we are in a hurry to deal with matters of budget.
This elicited a point of order from the minority leader, Enyinnaya Abaribe.
What it will mean is that the budget will go to the relevant committee of appropriation and the NDDC committee, and some person will come to defend the budget. Mr. President, I fear that we may run into a problem of delayed budget again.
His point of order was sustained by the President of the Senate.
Point of order.
The Senate adopted a motion by Degi Barakuma, who is now Deputy Governor-elect of Bayelsa State, on the need to revive the Brass LNG project in view of government's investment and its strategic role in the implementation of the energy agreement with the Russian government.
The execution of the Brass LNG project had got the sum of about $1,200,000,000 as at 2011, covering early site works and maintenance. Since then, the project had remained moribund.
Matters of urgent public importance on the need to curb electoral violence and that to eliminate violence against women were also adopted.
The cases of rape of 2-week-old and 6-month-old babies or rape of 60 to 80 years old women clearly tells us this menace is more deeply rooted.
The time has come for Nigeria to take a serious stance against violence, against rape, and especially during elections.
4 bills, including that to amend the Criminal Code Act of 2004 to increase punishment for the offences of kidnapping and remove gender restrictions in the offences of rape and other matters were passed at second reading at Tuesday's plenary.
Those in favor of Paragraph 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
From the National Assembly, Vivian Itekbefo, NTA News.
And still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate alleged security breach and violence during the November 16 governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa states. In Adopt National Assembly correspondent reports.
The motion from Deputy Minority Leader Tobi Okechukwu elicited comments from House members.
66,241 police personnel were deployed for the elections.
I believe that Nigerians will have the free choice to choose who they want to choose.
The electorate has to ask whether his life will be secured going to the polling booth to cast his vote.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila made additional contributions to the prayers of the motion, which were subsequently adopted.
There shall be no reference to any political party in the report, so that such is not used against whether it's PDP or APC in court, and we allow the courts to do their work.
Also adopted during plenary was a call from Representative Roland Igbakpa urging investigations on oil spillage in Delta State, which led to fire outbreak, and a motion from Moraino Ajibola seeking the provision of relief materials to victims of fire disaster at a market in Ibadan and Unipe along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
The cause of the fire at Akpeni Market is yet to be determined, but eyewitnesses said that the fire started around 12 midnight, whilst that of Unipe occurred in broad daylight at about 3 p.m.
Representative Nolim Naji, in a motion supported by House members, urged government to make funds available to FEMA to carry out maintenance work on roads across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, while the motion tabled by Kasimu Bello Megari on the need to relocate the correctional center in Jalingo was also adopted.
The locations of the center in the community is constituting a very serious nuisance to the residents due to the occasional incidents of riot, jailbreak, security challenges, and sewage coming out of the center, which has contaminated the well, which is the only source of water in the community.
Plenary featured the passage of 2 bills at second reading, namely a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Agriculture Malumfashi in Katsina State and a bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education Ilaorangu in Osun State. House Speaker also read a presidential communication notifying members on the submission of the 2019-2020 budget estimates for the Niger Delta Development Commission for consideration and passage. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And now to election matters. The presidency has described as outright falsehood reports that former President Goodluck Jonathan was blackmailed to support the governing party in the recent Bielsa governorship election. Speaking with newsmen in Abuja, the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, expressed shock that such a story could be considered believable to the point of being given space in some newspapers. Shehu said the former president has been out of power for almost 5 years without any previous allegations of government blackmail cropping up. He also noted that there were more than enough reasons for Dr. Jonathan to work against his party, PDP, in the just concluded Bielsa election without interference by President Muhammadu Buhari. You're watching the news on NTA International. It's time for a break. The news continues shortly after.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, Senator Dr. Chris Nwabweze Ngige, cordially invites the general public to the 18th National Productivity Day celebration and conferment of National Productivity Order of Merit, NPOM Award. Theme: Productivity for National Re-engineering, Security and Growth. Date: Thursday, 28 November 2019. Time 9 a.m. Venue: NAV Conference Center and Suites, close to Next Cash and Carry, Kado, Abuja. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Award lecture, guest speaker, Professor Mike Obadan, Chairman, Goldman Education Academy. Dr. Kashim Ako, Director General, National Productivity Center, Abuja. Announcer.
Your information dey important, just like your identity. Na the only way we fit take hala you o. Make you go browse easy.gotvafrica.com. Sign in with your IUC number and mobile number and scroll down to personal details and address. Then check well to see say everything bam. You fit change the one wey not correct. To finish everything, just click the save button and it don finish.
Thank you.
I make sure say my phone number dey correct. That's not why GoTV fit call me make I come collect my own awoof.
Angel, time for my phone in that way because now my correct phone number dey for book.
GoTV, live it, love it.
Now look me again, no. Make you go do your own.
Thanks for staying with NTA International. Now, the people of Badagry have expressed absolute confidence in the federal government's desire to check cross-border concerns in the overall interest of the country. Anthony Forson completes the report.
When the federal government's high-powered delegation touched down at the Seme border for an on-the-spot assessment, it was obvious that all does not seem well. Reason? It is no more business as usual, where the federal government loses and a few people feed fat. The Information and Culture Minister told the youths of the area to sustain their confidence in the present administration as President Muhammadu Buhari means well for their future. Babatunde Hunkwe is a member, House of Representatives from the area.
We support government policies, despite the fact that it's coming with pain. But we are fully in support of the closure because we believe that it's going to bring good things to us.
And to his people, he equally called on them to be law-abiding and respect constituted authority.
To always be peaceful, to always cooperate with government and ensure that wherever they put us or wherever way they say we should move, we should cooperate with the security people.
The federal government on August 29th decided to close its borders for some security reasons. From the Seme Border Control Post, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, in a bid to ensure that former members of the National Youth Service Corps are gainfully employed in the absence of white-collar jobs, the NYSC Foundation has disbursed loans worth several million naira to some ex-corps members in Abuja. Olayinka Uju reports that the amount disbursed at the NYSC headquarters to the ex-corps members ranges from 250,000 to 400,000 naira.
With no adequate jobs to cater for the teeming population in the country, several economic and financial experts have and are still advocating skills acquisition as the way to go, since great economies of the world are driven by entrepreneurs. This the NYSC believes in, and a testimony to this belief is what made the likes of Ekuneko, an ex-corps member, say he wants to use his startup for a shoemaking business.
Right from the time, I've not been a fan of 30 days one pay. It's just like a support to boost up what's already on ground.
I've always had a passion for photography, like taking pictures of people, capturing moments.
The selection process is a rigorous one, as hundreds of applications are painstakingly screened with specific focus on agriculture, ICT, and arts and crafts sectors. Although some who have benefited at some point have refused to pay back the loan. Director General, NYSC, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim reiterated that the scheme will remain irrevocably committed to giving the youths a new lease of life, particularly during and after the service year.
Establish an effective monitoring and feedback mechanism for the beneficiaries. I also appeal to you to ensure timely repayment of the loans so as to enable others benefit in the future.
The NYSC Foundation was established in 1999 as a non-governmental organization that provides and promotes the welfare of corps members under the scheme. Olayinka Uju, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has felicitated with an elder statesman, Sani Bello, on his 77th birthday. President Buhari joins Governor Abubakar Sani Bello of Niger State, the Bello family, friends, and well-wishers in celebrating a lifetime of dedicated service to the community, state, and the nation. As a former military officer, a former governor of Old Kano State, former Nigerian High Commissioner to Zimbabwe, an accomplished businessman, the president affirms that Colonel Bello's discipline, exemplary team-building skills, and dedication to duty, which distinguished him from others, consistently marked him out for honor. ECOWAS election observation mission in Guinea-Bissau believes that the country will soon have a president who is truly the wish of the people. This is part of the preliminary declaration of the mission following the November 24 presidential election. The ECOWAS mission commends the electoral body and security agencies, including ECOMIB, for what it describes as a peaceful election. It urges the candidates to accept the result of the election.
This election constitutes a capital step in the consolidation of the achievements, democratic achievements of the people of Guinea-Bissau. This election will allow to close the cycle of 10 March and would normally end the political crisis in Guinea-Bissau.
The next level here is to have a new president, to have a new government, and the economic situation can be resolved for the welfare of all the people of Guinea-Bissau.
Candidates, including the incumbent, are contesting the seat. And in other news, 3 men falsely convicted of murder in Maryland have been set free after 36 years in prison. For details of this and more news from around the world, here is Joyce Ometu.
Hello and welcome to this segment of the news. 13 French soldiers have been killed in a helicopter crash during an operation against alleged jihadists in Mali. French President Emmanuel Macron expressed his deep sadness over the incident which occurred Monday. The accident is one of the worst with heavy casualties on the part of French military in decades. Mali has suffered violence since 2012 when Islamist militants took over the north. With the help of France, Mali's army has recaptured the territory. Meanwhile, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit Albania, bringing down buildings and leaving people trapped under rubble. A report from the Albanian Defense Ministry confirms the death of at least 8 persons, while about 150 people injured. A spokesperson from the Defense Ministry says firefighters and army staff are helping residents under the rubbles. And from the United States comes a report that 3 men falsely convicted of murder in Maryland have been set free after 36 years in prison. Alfred Chestnut, Andrew Stewart, and Ransom Watkins had been sentenced to life in 1984. They were freed in Baltimore on Monday after a judge cleared their convictions, following a review of their case. The 3 men were arrested as teenagers in November 1983, following the death of DeWitt Dockett, who was shot in the neck on his way to class at a Baltimore high school. That wraps up this segment. Many thanks for your time. I am Joyce Umitu.
Thank you, Joyce. And now we'll take sports update.